Hey, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dee Sitromani and I am the face behind A Baked Devotion. Today I'm going to be showing you some basic equipment that you would need if you want to start baking from your home. Let's get into the video. So over here I've got all the equipment that I would suggest you buy if you want to start baking at home. I'm going to go through each one of them and explain to you the uses and which ones I suggest that you purchase for yourself. So first I've got a digital scale. You need a scale just like this one. It is battery operated. The batteries go in there. There are better ones, but I've had this one for so long that I honestly have gotten used to it. You can buy it really at any grocery store in your local neighborhood. Next, I have got a gram scale. So this is mostly what I use to weigh out tiny little amounts, let's say for yeast if I'm making bread, or if you've got baking powder or baking soda that is in grams, but usually it's measured in teaspoons or tablespoons. Next, I have got my KitchenAid. This is a stand mixer. If you have the funds to purchase one of these, you obviously can, but you don't necessarily have to. When you start baking, you can start off with a hand mixer, which I do not own, but you can buy them at, you know, stores that sell home stuff, kitchen stuff. But I've got this one. I've had it for a very long time. It was a gift from my mother after I finished culinary school. But basically what you're looking for is a stand mixer like this. It does not have to be this brand. It can be another brand that you prefer. Look for one that's got multiple settings. This is the settings for the speed. And on this side is where I lock and unlock it in order to open it. So my KitchenAid stand mixer came with two bowls like this one. And the bowls came with lids. I love that they come with lids because if I'm proving bread, I can just prove it in here. I just close it and put my bowl in the refrigerator instead of cling filming it, which is a waste of plastic. I can just put this lid on, or if I've got buttercream left over and I still need it for tomorrow to be at room temperature, I can just put the lid on and leave it on the counter as is. Now, when you are looking for a stand mixer, just beware of the type of bowl that you want. Mine has a handle so that I can use it easily. I would suggest you get one like that. It also comes in different liters. I'm not sure how many liters this one is, but they can go up to 30 liters. But those are obviously the much larger industrial ones. But for a home baker, you don't need anything really bigger than this, but it would be nice to have two bowls. Like I said, mine has two, so that if I'm maybe making a buttercream in this one and I need to make a cake batter in another one, then I don't have to wait for the buttercream. I can just move on, or I can keep my buttercream in here and then move on and make my cake batter. So my stand mixer came with 3 attachments, a balloon whisk like this. These attachments are replaceable, but I would say they are quite pricey. It came with a paddle attachment for when I want to cream stuff, and then it came with a dough hook for maybe if I want to make bread. This I hardly use because I don't make kneaded bread that often, but these two are really important. Next, you are going to need one of these. This is a cooling rack. It is so that you can put your cake on top of it like this, and that there's space in between the surface of the cake. You want air to be flowing over and below the cake so that your cake cools down faster. You can buy this really at any shop that sells like homeware stuff, serving stuff, cutlery, crockery. They are not expensive. Then you will need a whisk. I love my whisk. My son is obsessed with this whisk and he's not allowed to touch it. This was quite an expensive one, but it was a treat because I bought it in France. But you want a sturdy whisk. This whisk is so sturdy. I know I said the stand mixer comes with a whisk, but sometimes you do need to whisk some things by hand. Egg whites, or I don't know, a custard, ganache, whatever. Get a nice whisk. There are whisks at the store that are super flimsy and cannot handle, for example, a super thick ganache. So this you might have to go to like a special bakeware store for, and it might be on the more expensive side of things. Then you will need some mixing bowls. Get stainless steel mixing bowls. Okay, the reason I use stainless steel is because if you're using a plastic mixing bowl, it is going to hold the smell of whatever you're making. So for example, if you're making something with cinnamon, the bowl is going to smell like cinnamon, and then something else that you make after you've used that bowl will have little bits of cinnamony taste, if that makes any sense. So when you use stainless steel, it does not hold any smells. It just smells really like nothing, and I love these. You can get them in different sizes. I've got this one. I think this is one of my bigger ones, but you can get really large ones too. Next, you will need some spatulas. So this is my icing spatula, the one that I use to ice the round of the cake, and this is my little palette knife. I've had it for years, not even gonna lie. I feel like since 2016, this one, so I haven't lost it. I love it. It can easily go into my pocket. I've got a pocket over there, and I just walk around with it like that, and if I need to quickly fix something, do that, wash it, put it back inside my pocket. And then this one is for icing. This one I really use to smooth, like in between the layers. You can use this one, and you do get palette knives like this type that are not straight, bigger ones. So you can have different size ones, straight ones, and then this kind. Then you will need spatulas. I've got multiple spatulas, big ones. This is much bigger than this one, of course, to fold stuff, to mix stuff, to stir stuff. These are great, and you can get silicone ones, cheaper ones. This one is my more expensive one, and this one was a cheapy little one that I bought at a China mall. Next, you will need some measuring cups. A lot of the recipes that I use are American, and Americans of course do not use the metric system. They use cups and quarts and all sorts of crazy weird things. So you will need some measuring cups. Mine is 1 cup, half a cup, a third of a cup, a quarter cup, and an eighth of a cup. I've seen some that are like there's 1.5 cups, which is great because sometimes you do need to measure 1.5 cups of something. Otherwise you can just get a set like this. And then of course you will need measuring spoons. I use these for small amounts, like fine salt, bicarbonate of soda, baking powder, etc, spices, and all that lovely stuff. Then you will need measuring jugs. Although I have measuring cups, I prefer to use measuring jugs if I'm measuring liquids. Like maybe you need to measure some buttermilk, warm coffee, hot water, fresh milk, whatever. It's easier if I measure it like this, so that I don't spill. At least I've got something sturdy. This is my smallest one. This came I think in a pack of 3, like a medium sized one and a really large one. So you can buy them. I bought my set at Pick n Pay. Then of course you will need some baking tins. I've got some square ones, tiny little square ones, and then I've got different size round ones. I prefer to have cake tins that don't have the base that comes up, but I feel maybe if you're a beginner and you feel if the base comes up it will help you to take the cake out better, that's fine. But what I do, I will explain this in another video, but I'll tell you now anyways, is grease my tin on the sides at the bottom, put parchment paper on the bottom, and then once it's out, I just scrape a knife around, toss it upside down, and my cake comes out. But if you feel you want a tin that has the base that comes up or out, then that's also fine. Then you will need a rolling pin. Wooden rolling pin, the best. I prefer a rolling pin that doesn't have handles on the ends. I just find that very strange, but you can find the ones with the handles on the end that rolls back and forth for cookies, and if you're making puff pastry, if you're going to be making puff pastry from scratch, croissants, pain au chocolat, all my favorite things. Okay, so a wooden rolling pin. You can get ones that are plastic, but I use this one more than I use my plastic one. And then speaking of cookies, you are going to need some cutters. I think round cutters are the best to start off with. Mine are plastic. You can get some metal ones. The metal ones are smooth on both sides, but I like the plastic ones because they're fluted on this side and then smooth on the other side. So that gives you sort of like some options. And of course my turntable. This is to help me ice a cake better. Instead of me walking around the cake, I can just turn this so that the cake turns by itself. I love this one. Super cheap. You can get this from like a China mall. Then speaking of icing, these piping nozzles, I love them. I've got round ones, as you can see. That one is round, and then I've got little star ones. This is the famous 1M tip from Wilton. Love it, love it, love it. And you can get different star shaped ones. I've got a whole jar of them, and I keep them in a jar like that. Then with the piping nozzles, you will need some piping bags. I have got these, I want to say they're silicone, but they are reusable. I've got these ones, and I've got some other cloth looking ones. I would say if you're starting out, rather get the cloth looking ones because they last way longer. I use these twice before I throw them out. So that's quite a waste. Rather get the reusable ones, but make sure you clean them properly so that there's no bacteria that grows on there. So that brings us to the end of our video. Remember to subscribe and to give this video a thumbs up if you found this very, very helpful. Catch me over on Instagram for more tutorials on reels and all of that stuff. I will link it down below, and on the banner will be my Instagram, and I will be uploading every second week, so you can come every 2 weeks to see what I've got to share with you, some skills, some knowledge, whatever it is. I will put up a poll on Instagram to see what you guys would want to see on the channel. So see you soon. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, and of course to share with a friend. Bye.